is Eric Hite, and is the mic check all right? I do a sound check. We okay?
We're good to go.
All right. My name is Eric Hite, and my dissertation was on improving 7th grade reading proficiency and academic performance through technology infusion and collaborative teaching. It's a program that we've instituted at my school, and I just wanted to get teachers' perspectives on what they thought about this program, and that's what this study will do. Overview. The driving force behind this project was low 7th grade student reading level and computer literacy. The students came to us from elementary school with very low reading levels, with the expectation, though, that they had to be caught up very, very quickly. And so we had to figure out how to address that. The students had to address that. The school received permission from the Rankin County School District and from MDE, Mississippi Department of Education, to create this program that would allow the students to take computer technology and ELA and combine those classes into one. And so on the student schedule, they were in ELA and Cyber Foundations all at the same time, but taking ELA every day for 90 minutes. The computer teacher would co-teach all year with other teachers. They had a schedule set up. It was really neat, and collaborate to teach, integrate computer technology into their subject areas. This study sought to discover how the teachers felt about the effectiveness of this new process. The problem of practice. The problem of practice was that students were entering middle school well behind in their reading level. They needed more time in English class. The computer class held very little relevance to students. They were pretty much using computers simply for social media, music, movies, and games. The district, by the way, is a one-to-one district. And so when they come to 7th grade, middle school, the students all had computers. However, they had zero to very little to zero computer proficiency. They needed also essential reading and computer skills to complete the grade 7 curriculum, because computer technology is a Carnegie unit for graduation, and they had to have passed ELA in order to go on to the next grade level. So an emphasis on reading and computer proficiency only resided though in English and computer class. The students segmented their thought processes in, I'll only do English in English class, I'll only do computer technology in computer class, and so we want to address that. There must be a way to modify the schedule so students can get more time in grade 7 ELA, while simultaneously getting relevant computer technology exposure and skills in all core content areas. My research questions: what effect does integrating technology in content courses have on improving 7th grade students' reading proficiency? What effect did integrating technology in content courses have on improving their academic performance overall? What effect will collaborative teaching have on improving 7th grade students' reading proficiency? Collaborative teaching, will that have an effect on it? And will collaborative teaching improve the academic performance? Which of these factors, or both of these factors, how will they affect their reading and academic performance? The purpose. The purpose of this qualitative study was to explore teachers' perceptions about the impact of collaborative co-teaching and intentional technology integration in 7th grade core content area classes. In addition, the study sought to discover if teachers believe these actions actually improve 7th grade students' reading proficiency and academic performance. The literature review in this area was massive. Constructivism was a huge driving force behind it. Deering found that discovered the 5 C's, stated the 5 C's of education were critical thinking, collaboration, caring, comprehensive education, and constructivism. Vygotsky in 1978 defined constructivism as the theoretical learning concept that combines and integrates various content areas to build new knowledge. And this is what we were doing in this project, student teachers were doing. Wright found that utilizing constructivist activities as part of daily classroom lessons and teaching allow middle school students to gain essential cognitive developmental skills that increase comprehension and knowledge retention. The factors that were contributing to low reading in my study: school culture, Pearson found that schools with positive school culture address those reading issues very early. Negative school culture kind of let those things linger on. The school that I've studied at has a very positive school culture, and they want to address those reading issues, which is why they came with this unique delivery methods of education. Scheduling issues are also another issue. Henry found that the goal of class scheduling was to give students the time and instruction needed with their teacher to be successful on a global scale and within the content area, regardless of their life, their education background, or whatever. However, according to Slayton Jones, though created to maximize learning time, schedules have also contributed to a lack of interest in education. We can relate to having a teacher in a class situation that wasn't as engaging or interesting as it possibly could have been. And so we want to use the integration with technology and the collaboration among teachers to address that. Marchand and Paulson found that schools sometimes contribute to ongoing literacy and low reading and writing levels with rigid course schedules that push towards quantity of learning versus quality of learning. We're trying to get through this objective and trying to actually get the students to know the objective and gain something from it. And so the school implemented this process to make learning quality, not so much the quantity, but the quality of education to improve reading levels. How to improve reading and writing proficiency in middle schools? Remediation. School teachers with a focus on remediation quickly identify gaps in learning, take time to focus on attention to that deficiency, and utilize various strategies to help the students improve. Team teaching. Alec Abari and Najad found that when teachers coordinated and had set expectations and roles to working together, team teaching was a tremendous benefit to reading and knowledge retention. Cross-curricular lessons. There's a phrase in research called collegiality, where teachers working together intentionally, gladly working together intentionally in lessons. Combining those lessons adds breadth and knowledge and depth to the subject areas, especially when the teachers are happy working together before, during, and after school, during that planning time to create this instruction. And finally, technology integration. Provides engagement, student interactions, alternatives to traditional assessment methods, and ownership in learning. It differentiates learning, allowing students to improve their reading proficiency according to Kimmons. And so the technology piece was the project-based piece that we really want to implement, the teachers implemented in grade 7, and it really made a huge difference versus the standard multiple choice, constructive response to lessons. My epistemology. Constructivism as a theoretical framework for integrating computer technology. I'm sorry, my dog is participating in this theory as well, and this project as well, I apologize. But constructivism as a theoretical framework for integrating computer class with other content areas can help students develop a deep understanding of core concepts. Constructivism, the merging of those ideas together. The study also adopted social constructivism, which recognized that teachers' perceptions are shaped by their experiences and interactions. And that was a big thing we had to overcome, because a teacher's classroom is their island. It's a place they own. And so having someone to come into the classroom was a very interesting dynamic that had to be overcome, because when you think about someone that comes into the classroom to observe a principal per se, it's almost like a tense situation. And so when somebody comes into your classroom, the teachers found that initially there was some abrasiveness to it because they felt like someone's coming and watching. They realized they're all here to help. And so once that social construct was torn down, and that idea of helping and collegiality and being on the same page and the benefits of it, it made a huge difference. Collaborative learning theory emphasized the importance of social interaction and collaborative efforts in the learning process. The teachers' technological, pedagogical content was huge. The teachers all discussed about how their biggest issue with integrating technology was not being familiar with technology. Taking time away from my lesson in English, math, science, or history to try to teach how to create a PowerPoint or how to do an iMovie or how to do graphic design in a math class was not something they really wanted to get into. However, so their low technological skills was overcome because the computer teacher was there to do that, and so that was huge. Their honesty about that, and it made a big difference in their classes. The research acknowledged the role of the teacher in facilitating knowledge construction and recognized that teachers' perceptions and experiences plays a huge role in shaping instructional practices. My positionality, I'm a computer and business teacher with 18 years of experience. I have a passion for utilizing technology. I love teaching, absolutely love what I do. I love engaging with students and teachers and being a help and just being showing people how it can be done, a different way it can be done. I love creative thinking. And so I've personally integrated technology into my business curriculum with great results. And I strongly believe that teaching students computer technology can engage, excite, and enhance their education experience as well. For my methodology, we use a qualitative focus group because we want to study perceptions, grounded theory being a foundational basis of this, because we want to see their emotions and feelings and perceptions that the teachers had during this process. What did they truly feel about this program that the administrators asked them to implement? The participants of this study were 7th grade middle school teachers of English, math, science, and history. There were 7 teachers, and here's the matrix of them that was part of my study. As you'll notice that they were all female, and also they were all Caucasian. And so obviously we see for later on in studies, this could be something that could be addressed clearly by having a more diverse population and a large population, but they were interesting to work with and great two subjects. Ethical issues and limitations. Getting teachers to be honest about issues such as teaching styles and differences in classroom rules, and discussing that because that was a hurdle they had to overcome. Different teachers had different tolerances for certain things, and so they had to overcome those issues and then discuss the issues that they had with each other during the focus group session. Understand teachers' involvement was voluntary. They all volunteered for it. I received RB approval from USM. The data was kept anonymous. Data records were restored afterwards, and the teachers approved all quotes and transcripts. Limitations of the study: small sample size. Obviously, the homogeneous nature of the participants. It only focused on a specific group of teachers, 7th grade only, not 8th or 9th. The limited scope, we only discussed, it was only about integration and collaboration affecting reading and academic proficiency. So very limited variables, and the short term of the study. The longitudinal study would be a whole lot, add more depth to it. Major findings. Teachers found that the technology integration was beneficial for student engagement and interaction. But there was not one teacher who did not, at the end of it, think it was the most fantastic thing they'd ever seen or participated in, been part of. The intentional integration of technology in the math classes was interesting to hear about how, I was interested to see how the math teachers would say they integrated for reading proficiency, but they use multimedia resources to provide students to develop reading skills, vocabulary. They're doing morphology in math classes using technology and different apps and programs for critical thinking and communication skills. The technology integration we found improved student reading proficiency while simultaneously reinforcing their understanding of content area materials. One of the things that teachers discussed was, it was interesting when problems popped up, they'd have to do some reading and problem solving to figure out, okay, why is this thing not working? If it was a computer issue, okay, let's read what's the pop-up saying. And so again, we're adding a breadth of knowledge, because now we're not talking about English, math, science, and history per se. They're talking about a whole nother thing. They're reading it and figuring out, okay, comprehending that. The uniqueness of the program is that the computer teacher gave all the instructions and was there to handle any issues that may have occurred also, but it allowed those that collaboration. That fear initially of teachers not knowing the content area was computer technology area was released because the computer teacher was there to do all that. The computer teacher taught the students keyboarding, typing, PowerPoint, using documents, using emails, using Canvas, and graphic design, Excel spreadsheets, just a whole gamut of technology. And then the teachers, all they had to do was simply to assign the project, to create a project. And so it was tremendously successful. The collaboration, though, required a major investment of time by the teachers. They talked of meeting before school started in the summertime. There would be June, after school, June and July, preparing the lessons collaboratively so they could work together and knowing they'd be on the same page for the lessons. So that time investment that they felt initially was a hindrance became a positive thing later on. The cross-curricular collaboration enhanced reasoning proficiency, but also merged the various curriculum together as they were doing joint projects and assignments together, science, history, English, math. It was neat to see that, them discussing that. Having 2 or more teachers in the classroom made the subject matter more relevant to the students and allowed for differentiation and personalization for student assistance. Having 2 teachers, there were several different teaching methods, one teach, one assist, and they did utilize those differently in their classrooms in order to get their curriculum across. Collaboration, however, took major buy-in by all teachers. They all talked about how initially there was some reluctance to this, not knowing how this is going to work. This is something totally new that they had not seen before, but it took buy-in by teachers, by administrators, by students and parents. Students and parents, they talked about how students and parents were kind of confused. How am I taking computer class and English at the same time? How is it that I've got an assignment for my English class, and also I have the same assignment for my computer teachers grading me that also. And so it took some buy-in and understanding about how this process was going to work. Teacher planning being paramount. Communication and trust to exist among teachers to co-teach was also huge, that they had to figure out how to trust each other, that they were here to help. The extra time in English class paid huge dividends on benchmark and state testing, the teachers felt, because the students received actually 2 years of instruction in 1 year. The school's on a block schedule, so every other day they're normally taking classes, but because of the new delivery system, they were taking a 90-minute English class every day. They wanted English 90 minutes every day for 180 days, not just 90 days. Future research can incorporate students' perspectives. This is all about the teachers, could incorporate the students as well. Long-term effects of long-term longitudinal study over a period of time. Conducting comparative studies between schools and using the mixed method. This only used qualitative research. Quantitative would also add some more depth to actually the data based on the student scores pre-6th grade or start of the school year to end of the school year. Policies. I would be in favor of mandatory collaboration among teachers. It was so helpful to see those teachers working together and talk about that. Mandatory integration of technology. Project-based assessments in the classes, not just structures, responses, or standard multiple choice questions. Mandatory integration of technology teachers in middle school and high school. What if this thing was able to put in, there was a middle school teacher who did this and also a high school teacher on a higher level, and utilization of students for technology issues. There are some students they talked about who really took off on, who really acclimated towards technology, and using those students to help with little issues that come up in the school, since the school has a one-to-one, but issues that come up, the computers had to be sent off. What if they could do it with the students who are there? Personal practice. One of my biggest personal practices, I wanted to collaborate with teachers to create a large unit that integrates all the content areas. I would love to try to do a history project, kind of based around history, ancient Egypt. Students create a website or app on ancient Egypt, while the math is studying the science of the math behind the pyramids, the science teachers doing the science of building the pyramids, and the English teachers are reading about nonfiction on this book series that we found on the Red Pyramid series all at one time. What kind of impact would that have on students there? Everybody's engaged all in one project at the same time. In closing, I just want to thank my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for saving me. I could not have done this also without the love, understanding, support, and help of my wife, Mrs. Dr. Vishnu Hite, and my shrimp boat captains, my children. Karen, Gerald, Kim, and Demetrius, praise the Lord for that weekend. You know what I'm talking about? You got us over the hump. My cohort team, the Fantastic Four, Frank, Shamila, Tiffany Wilson, and Tiffany Carey. We just kept encouraging each other. Thank you guys so much. The support of all my family and friends who have been encouraging me to do this for years. I truly love you all. Thank you for watching. I'll take any questions about exploring grade 7 teachers' perspectives on the impact of integration of technology and collaborative instruction on student academic performance and reading proficiency. Eric Hite. Thank you.
There it is. Good job, Dr. Hite. Well done. Very well done. Lots of questions. I took a few notes. So we're going to absolutely have some questions, but we'll start with the panel. Here, does anybody have any questions? Any questions for Dr. Hite? Go ahead and unmute if you have a question.
Hi. Good morning. Good morning. I mean, good afternoon, Dr. Taylor.
Yes, sir. Yes, go ahead.
Hi, how you doing? I'm Dean Hite. I'm the younger brother
Cool.
of the. I'm saying this very cautiously, and very callously. The new Dr. Hite, the other Dr. Hite now. I do have a few questions there. First is a quick question. Eric, you said that your study is specific was only with 7th graders. Is there any reason why it's specific? Only 7th graders, and do the discoveries the research have any applicability to other grade levels? Because you only focus on 7th graders. That's correct.
Yes, the focus on those 7th graders, because that's the area which I teach also, and that's the team that I'm currently on.
Okay.
The future research is what I really want to push to see how that affects in other grade levels, because the one benefits was the interesting thing that research found was that there wasn't a longitudinal study of doing this over a course of period of time, you know, when one little block of all we had to do with it. But yes, a longitudinal study of future research would be excellent on other classes as it goes forward. Okay.
Second question. Great answer for it, by the way. Quick question again. I'm a quantitative guy. I'm a numbers guy. My background is statistics, inference statistics. So I love numbers. This right here was a qualitative study dealing with teachers' perceptions, correct?
Correct.
So let me ask you something. Were there any quantitative literature, or did you expose any consideration from your research on how these metrics can impact academic achievement from a student? In other words, is there anything out there that says using these type of based on your study, is there anything out there that says using students from a quantitative perspective as it using teachers from a qualitative perspective, what will yield similar results? Because I'm really interested more in the students. I'm selfish. I'm interested more in the students than more so than the actual perception of the teachers. It's not a bad thing now. It's just my personal. Yeah.
No, I get that. And I was interested in the students initially at first, but for this to be successful, there has to be teacher buy-in, right? And so that's why I want to address what do they really feel about this? What do they feel about this project? Even before you talk about somebody else doing it, because one of the pushback and from teachers and the reluctance of teachers was a huge factors in research that was found over and over again. So yes, there could be studies the student data, because that's easy. You pre-test, right? Get that data from the students. You post-test after at the end of the school year and see what they occur. I think you'd have to do it a couple of years in a row with a class who did not have integration and see how their scores were. Then here comes a new class, or you can still do the same class in grade 7, no integration, grade 8 integration. See if that's the difference. But again, you get all those different variables with teachers, the teaching styles, and all those things make a huge difference also in those variables. But tremendous amount of study. There's a technological TPACK that did a whole study on technology integration with the quantitative data you're looking for. But for this study, I was really looking for how the teachers' perspective, of the teachers of the schools. That's the biggest thing, the buy-in from the teachers. Without teacher believing in this and being able to say that this is a good thing they would want to do, it's not happening.
So with the buy-in now that you have from your studies, now is there consideration now to perhaps maybe integrate it into more of a quantitative aspect now, looking at how the students are impacted by it? Now you have a buy-in from the teachers.
That is the next be the next step for future research. However, that's another step, right? Because now those kids are in 8th grade. It's a whole nother, there's a lot of different variables, and every teacher, the English teacher of the 7th grade is not the English teacher of the 8th grade, and the math and all those other things have become very difficult. But it'd be a great study. It would be a great study now in 8th grade when they go to next grade level to see how they do.
Great. So now, guys, I promise you, Dr. Taylor, this is my last question because it just jumped and I'm done. I do apologize. I'm not trying to take over, guys. I do apologize because
that's what he does.
I love this kind of stuff. Rue, excuse me, I apologize. I call him Rue. That's my brother, guys. Eric.
Yes.
Last thing, the study, it involved 7 ladies. The thing that really got my attention was that the demographics were extremely monotone. You had, if I'm not mistaken, you had 7 white ladies,
Right.
all married, all 7th graders. Do you think that if it was done on, like, say, maybe on an inner school, maybe some male teacher? I mean, clearly you're not a white female. I know that from experience. I know you're not.
Right.
But do you think that if maybe you have some Black males, white males, Asian, I like to see a different motley if that was considered, because like all the demographics were the exact same. I think one lady was single, but outside of that, do you think just based on what you have, because I know I know there was some initial apprehension about it because and not because of you, but because it was such a novel idea.
Right.
But would it have had a greater different impact had there been more, had there been a nice different Molly on the demographics?
You know that the issue on the demographic would be, ultimately it comes down to the personality of the person. Doesn't matter if they're white, Black, Asian, Hispanic, the buy into the program. All right. So if they bought into the program, I think it would be the same. But that's right for future reason. These are the ladies that were there. All right, these are only the 7th grade. This is the 7th grade teacher, small school. And so these are only teachers that were there. There were no other people to pull from the 7th grade to do anything different. But so yes, but I think that the issue truly becomes the personality and the collegiality of those participants, those teachers, whether white, Black, whatever. I would imagine, I was told, I mean, this was before I got here, that they had tried implementing it earlier with another teacher, and something happened there. I wouldn't even get the information about what happened, but it was an issue with personality conflicts. And so that'll be the biggest issue, I think, is that it doesn't matter what race they are. But you're right, but it'd still be interesting to study, because then it would enter into that dynamic, because, okay, how many different races do we need? Do we need half and half on each race? I mean, because the teacher population does not represent the school, right? I mean, because clearly there are some Black students at the school, yet there are none on that 7th grade team.
Okay, I'm done, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dr. Hite.
No problem. Thank you, Dr. Hite.
All right, good line of questioning, a little back and forth between doctors and brothers. I appreciate that. Anybody else? Any other questions for Dr. Hite? All right, Eric, I do have a couple questions. One is, technology integration is very expensive at times. How do the Title I lower income schools keep up with the schools who can afford the technology?
Now, that is a great question. Luckily, a lot of the Title I, at the Title I school, this Title I school, the federal government funds a lot of the one-to-one equipment. All right, and so that's a huge source of their allowing the ability to have those the computer technology and being one-to-one in a Title I school. I'd be interested to know, you're right, to see if the funding is consistent to other schools. I mean, that'd be a great question. I taught at another Title I school, and they all had one-to-one. I mean, I guess it comes to an administrative use of those funds, because I know that the federal government's Title I program pays for all of the school, the computer technology that's at this particular school.
So interesting follow-up question then. Technology teachers, STEM teachers are some of the hardest to staff, because we know a lot of people who get STEM degrees go, quite frankly, work in private industry and can make 2 or 3 times the starting salary of a teacher. So how do you then do some cross-training with teachers to train them on how to better leverage technology in their classrooms? How does the district, or maybe, people in roles of principals or associate principals, do some of that teacher training, because they may not get it coming out of undergrad,
That's true. That is very true. And that is the issue, right? Because even if I've been teaching for a while, and before we were one-to-one, I would take it upon myself to get the professional development to be well versed in using technology in some kind of way to implement it into the classroom. Ultimately, you'd have to, the first sell is getting teachers to understand, to selling teachers on the fact of, listen, if you do this, your classes and your student attitude can change tremendously, right? If you'll take on this, there takes to be a growth mindset that has to exist, right? For the teachers to want to excel and practice this and implement this within their curriculum, knowing that they still have that English, math, science, history objective they have to achieve that has nothing to do with technology. However, if you get that professional development and that push showing them the different results. And so I think that one of the things that possible administrators could do is push for project-based assessments. Project-based assessments, getting them away from the standard constructive responses, selective responses assessments would be a huge push in getting teachers to be more acclimate themselves to a different kind of to technology, because with all that's out there, it's tremendous that what could be accomplished. And so that's the kind of, I think, policy change that could occur that can help push that forward, with the professional development to being provided by either the computer teacher or the district, showing how they could easily implement these things into their curriculum, into their classes. Again, I think the huge thing that I found was teachers' willingness to do that, to take that extra step to do that. But I think that one policy change and going from no more paper pencil tests, let's go project-based learning, a different kind of form of assessment. I mean, it's not all the time the same structural response, something else would push that, because now they got to figure out, okay, well, how am I going to gauge them on their knowledge of this math concept? Well, you've got to use Google SketchUp to create a diagram of a city using these certain coordinates and these styles. Okay, now we're applying that using technology, you know what I'm saying? And so there'll be some creativity on that part.
Yeah, great ideas. I just think of the other waves in education. I heard a lot about reading across the curriculum, everyone teaching reading, writing across the curriculum, every teacher is a teacher of writing. And now it sounds like technology across the curriculum, every teacher should have, I suppose, a shared responsibility to teach technology and integrate it into what they do. So really, really interesting stuff. Let the floor take it one more time. And from the panel, from peers, any other questions for Dr. Hite before we wrap it up? We're good to go. Okay, well, one more time, congratulations, Dr. Hite, fantastic work. Really, really, really proud of the effort. I'm gonna stop the recording now.